This stunt woman's film credits include some of Hollywood's hottest films. But as a teenager, she faced the toughest trial of her life.
And I remember laying there on that bed thinking, why? Why has this just happened to me?
Find out how she reclaimed joy from the depths of despair. That and more on today's 700 Club Interactive. Well, welcome to the show. Delaware has become the first state to legalize abortion through 9 months of pregnancy. Last week, Governor Carney signed that bill that essentially negates all restrictions on abortion.
Well, as you know, the president vowed to champion the pro-life cause. This legislation appears to be an attempt to calm the fears of those on the left. Republican National Committee woman Ellen Barros said Delaware is headed backwards. This bill would open the floodgates to Gosnell-style houses of horrors, abortion clinics in Delaware.
This is one where I just don't understand. Why would you legalize in all cases an abortion in the 8th and 9th month?
Yeah.
You know that's a viable human being. You know that that baby can survive outside the womb. Why would you say that, no, we're going to legalize it?
Well, I think Barros is right. It is a step backwards, a big step backwards. And sadly, if I were a resident of Delaware, I would be puzzled myself. Why would we want our state to be the first one to step out and do something like this when so much progress has been made?
Well, the medical technology has gotten to the point where, you know, we understand a lot more about that baby in the womb, and that baby's ability to feel and sense pain, experience things, experience feelings, have knowledge. All of those things point to viability, point to humanity. Why would you say we support infanticide? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Anyway, pray for Delaware. Well, the LGBT community has claimed June as Pride Month, and support is coming from a wide variety of organizations, including Major League Baseball. 12 big league teams will celebrate Gay Pride on specific days this month and into July.
The Pittsburgh Pirates have planned a hat giveaway with the Pirates P in rainbow colors. The event also happens to take place on Kids Day at the ballpark. The Seattle Mariners boast that they will become the first team in baseball history to fly the rainbow pride flag during their game against the Chicago Cubs.
And again, I don't understand this one. Why would you have Kids Day and Gay Pride Day at the same time? And what are we really trying to teach? It's more than just tolerance at this level.
It's
You're saying not just we're proud, why a baseball team would do that? You know you're going to alienate a good number of people who come to your ballpark. It just doesn't seem to make good business sense. Well, another sport is embracing the rainbow pride colors. Both the United States men's and women's soccer teams recently wore rainbow-colored numbers to celebrate Pride Month. Jalen Hinkle is an outspoken Christian member of the women's soccer team, and upon the Pride jersey announcement, she decided to pull out of the matches for personal reasons.
On the same day the Supreme Court declared same-sex marriage is legal, Hinkle tweeted, quote, "This world is falling farther and farther away from God. All that can be done by believers is to continue to pray." Well, prayer changes things. So
it does change things, and realize when the enemy comes in like a flood, God always raises up a standard, and so our decision is will we be that standard? In a world that says good is evil and evil is good, in that world, how do we stand as Christians, and how do we do it in love, and realize that the way we become more than conquerors is through the love of Jesus Christ poured out into our hearts. And so let's show forth his love.
Absolutely. Well, a new report out in England shows that less sex education leads to less sex. From 1999 to 2010, the British government spent hundreds of millions on a sex education program, and it wasn't working.
Well, in spite of the political backlash, the budget was cut 70%. And get this, teen pregnancies are now down 50%.
Wow.
The study examined nearly 150 local districts between 2008 and 2014. The conclusion? More sex education and easier access to contraceptives leads to a higher rate of teen sexual activity. And who knew? The more you talk about it, the more you show it, the more you try to explain, this is okay behavior, the more you're going to get that behavior. And the less you educate people on these things, you don't have the curiosity, you don't have the inquiry, you don't even have the awareness of it.
It will be very interesting in the day that we live in, all things being as liberal as they are, whether attention is paid to these results or not. Whether it's one thing to report it, it's another thing to say we're going to actually utilize
Well, I
this.
think the politics of it was rather extreme when that budget cut happened, and so is the political ideology going to trump the reality of this? And I wonder, will it extend to other things? The more you see violence on television, is that going to make you more violent? That one, the movie industry, television industry have tried to squash every study on that issue, saying, well, we just portray it and people have to take responsibility for their own lives. But if you start showing these things, and I also think within the porn industry, that whole freedom of speech argument has been based on it doesn't harm anyone, but if you were able to prove through these kinds of studies, making people aware of these behaviors leads to more behaviors, particularly on the extreme end of that. Can we finally stop child pornography? Can we finally stop violence in those films?
And can we extend that to the political realm? When we finally speak civilly, maybe we will see people acting more civilly toward each other.
Let's all take a lesson from Britain. The right honorable gentleman. I may disagree with him, but he's still right and honorable. Well, no one questions the massive sacrifice mothers make in the lives of their children. Now, this weekend, we celebrate Father's Day. And for some fathers, all they want is a little rest and relaxation.
It's Father's Day. I'm cashing in now. Yo. What you get?
Free day.
Me too.
What do you want to do?
Fishing.
We don't fish.
We do now. You're up.
Some of that? That's tasty. Easter egg.
Do you have anything besides milk?
Bottom shelf.
Word.
You don't have a pole.
I got a tackle box!
Don't you need a fishing pole?
I got string. I'll find a stick.
Forgive me.
Taking the car, honey.
Kids have soccer.
I'll call an Uber.
Walking through the valley, all the shadows and the clouds. They ain't recognize that she and me. They try to make it cloudy.
you guys are going fishing for Father's Day, huh? Very nice. Kind of a new dad myself. Do you want me to turn up the music?
Nope. Silence. Just silence.
Do you guys ever wonder, like, what about our kids? Like, whether they...
Nope. We'll FaceTime in like an hour, bro.
That was really good. I don't know much about fishing, but don't you need poles?
A little rest and relaxation is good for every father. And give them a break.
And every mother, yes.
Just don't go fishing. Spend time in the hammock. Well, coming up, he was captured at the age of 14 and forced into the Lord's resistance army. Find out how Isaac escaped and found forgiveness when we return. Isaac grew up in Uganda, where his family lived in fear of the Lord's Resistance Army, a terrorist group known worldwide for murder, child sex slavery, and forcing children into their army. And that was Isaac's story, and the horrors that would follow him left him without hope.
I was told, killing with a gun is nothing. It's like you haven't killed. For my initiation, they handed me a machete and told me to kill a man. They said if I refused, they would kill me.
Isaac was only 14 years old when the Lord's Resistance Army came to his village.
I told my mom to run. I was going to lock the house and catch up, but they came too fast.
Isaac hid inside. When they torched his house, he ran out and was captured. Forced to become child soldiers, he and many others were given uniforms.
My friend refused to put on the uniform. They made me watch as they stabbed him to death with bayonets.
Isaac put on the uniform. He and two other boys were told to kill a man with machetes.
The man cried, "I'm innocent," but the commander screamed, "Kill him, kill him." If we didn't, we would take his place. It was the worst moment of my life.
He tried to run away many times, but was caught and nearly beaten to death. During one battle, he was shot in the leg and later forced to keep marching.
I prayed all the time, "God, get me out of here. Please get me home."
Knowing he would be killed if he got caught again, Isaac planned another escape. He went to fetch water, but didn't return.
When they came after me, I hid in a banana plantation. I heard one of them say, "If we catch him, we'll cut him into pieces and take him back for me. We will show everyone this is what happens when you try to escape."
Eventually, the soldiers gave up their search and left. Isaac could finally go home.
When I arrived home, people were afraid and told their children to stay away from me. I felt so guilty. That night, I dreamt of everything I was forced to do, and I woke up screaming and shouting.
Then Isaac went to a gathering in his village held by Exile International, which is supported by CBN's Orphans Promise. Through one-on-one therapy, singing, dancing, and drama, we've helped many former child soldiers and war orphans heal from terrible trauma.
You have brought so much joy back into my life. You helped me know God. I learned not to focus on the past, but to look at what is new.
We helped pay Isaac's tuition and fees and enrolled him in a Christian boarding school where he's made lots of friends.
It makes me so happy to be here. My school uniform is always clean and fresh, and it smells so nice. The YALA uniform was for doing bad things, and it was always dirty. When I put on my school uniform, my thoughts are good, and I am so proud to wear it.
We also gave Isaac a Bible, which he reads as often as he can.
Reading my Bible brings me so much peace. I know that God is the reason I survived. Without Him, I would be dead. He knows the plans He has for me, and I know I am completely free and forgiven. I appreciate all your help. You will be blessed for it. My future is bright because of you.
helping people. That's what we do. That's what members of the 700 Club do. And if you are a member, thank you, because you're part of that wonderful outreach, giving him a hope and a future. If you're not a member, join with us. How much is it? It's just $20 a month, 65 cents a day. And you join with tens of thousands who say, yes, let's make a difference. When people are hurting, let's go to them and let's provide what they need. So if you want to join, call us, 1-800-700-7000. Just say, yes, I want to be a member of the 700 Club. When you call with a pledge of $20 a month or more, we'll send as our gift to you Miracles, the latest DVD from my father. It's a teaching from him about how miracles happen today. There's testimonies of people that have experienced them, as well as his insights after 55 years in ministry, showing how God performs miracles today. It's yours when you join. Call us now, 1-800-700-7000. Terry?
Well, up next, she was only 15 when the unthinkable happened.
I remember laying there on that bed thinking, why? Why has this just happened to me? Why? Why me? These are the things that don't happen to people like me.
Don't miss this brave young woman's story and how she's now a Hollywood stunt double. You may have seen Lori Harper in the movies, but you wouldn't recognize her. She's a stunt double for some of Hollywood's biggest stars. Years ago, when Lori was 15 years old, she was a bright, bubbly teenager who loved performing gymnastics. But then one night at a party, Lori walked through a door and came out a completely different person.
Stunt double Lori Singer Harper has performed hundreds of dangerous crashes, falls, and spills in her career. She has to have courage, strength, and self-confidence, things she had plenty of as a teenager growing up in North Carolina.
I found my joy in the gym, in gymnastics. It was so much fun learning new skills. I felt so much joy when I was in the air flipping. I felt confident.
That all changed when Lori was 15. She was at a party when a boy she knew asked her upstairs to talk. Instead, he trapped her in a room, put a pillow over her head, and raped her. No one could hear her scream.
And I remember laying there on that bed thinking, why? Why has this just happened to me? Why? Why me? These are the things that don't happen to people like me. But I hated myself for walking into a room not knowing what was going to happen to me. I hated the fact that I was in a position that I was helpless.
Lori felt too ashamed to tell anyone.
I just remember being so sad about it, and so depressed about it that I didn't know what to do about it, but I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it.
With a growing sense of shame and self-hatred, Lori isolated herself from family and friends, falling deeper into depression.
Depression, to me, felt like, why wake up when you could just be dead? It felt like, why get out of this bed when you're happier when you're asleep? The joy comes out, and there was just no hope.
Then she started cutting herself.
I would look in the mirror, and I would take thumbtacks, and I would scratch on my cheek until it bled. And then I would stop. I couldn't really understand why I was doing it. I guess I hated myself so much that if I wasn't gonna die, I was gonna suffer.
A few months after the attack, Lori confided in her best friend, but that trust was quickly broken.
And next thing you know, people online started messaging me about the rape. And that put me to the very end of my rope. I couldn't believe that my best friend that I trusted would tell somebody.
On impulse, Lori downed a handful of pills she found at home, a decision she questioned right away.
After I took those pills, all of a sudden that boldness of I want to die became, do I want to die? And I went downstairs and I told my mom.
Laurie's mom called the Poison Control Center and learned there wasn't any danger, but she knew Laurie needed help, so she took her to a psychiatrist who put her on medication for ADHD and depression.
As opposed to always depressed, I started becoming more even. But just because I went on medication didn't give me joy in my life again. It didn't. I was going along, living life, but I didn't feel good inside. I didn't feel great like I used to. I just still felt on autopilot.
One day at school, Laurie met a college student who invited her to a Christian youth group gathering called Young Life. At once, Laurie noticed there was something different about her.
I was like, this girl, I never seen a joy like that in somebody. I mean, this was more joyous than who I was before the rape. And so I was thinking, that girl has got something special. And whatever it is, I want it.
So Laurie went to the meeting and discovered what her new friend had: faith in Jesus.
When I started to learn about who Jesus is, I started to receive joy in my heart again. No matter what it was that was dark that had happened in my life, He loved me anyway. I said, yes, Lord, come in my life. I'm ready. I'm at the darkest place I've ever been, and I accept you fully. Bring it on. After I accepted Jesus, it felt like the depression went away.
Instead of giving in to depression, she learned to depend on God for strength and joy.
God's presence gives me the confidence to know that He's gonna be there and He's gonna protect me.
And Laurie says it was God who led her to a dream career as a stunt woman, and also to her husband, Will Harper, who happens to be a stunt man. She's learned that when she seeks God through life's trials, she'll find joy.
Now I am hopeful for the future. I know that He has a plan and purpose for my life. Everything's changed.
You know, God, our Father, our good, good Father, created us to live in a garden with Him. And then life happened. And isn't that the way it happens for all of us? I mean, every one of our lives gets interrupted by things that break down the image of who God is, of who He wants to be in us, of who we are as His children. It damages how we see ourselves. It's a lie. It takes the truth that God wants implanted in us, and it replaces it with the lie of the enemy. But we don't have to accept that. We don't have to live like that. This is what Jesus said: you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. He said He came to set the captives free, and that He wanted us to have life, and to have life abundant. Now, if you're not enjoying that today, then you're missing out on what is your inheritance. As a child of God, that's His promise to you. Don't accept the lie. Don't stay where you are. Don't allow someone else to define your value, your worth, your future. You can live free from all of that. How does that happen? It happens when you recognize that you're in that place that you don't want to be in, don't need to be in, and you say, Jesus, come into my life, come into my heart. Set me free. I don't want to be captive to these things anymore. Teach me about who you are. I want the abundant life you created me for. Sometimes when we've gone through difficult, painful things, it means having to go back and address each of those things, asking God to show us the truth of who He is in every event in our lives. But in the end, you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Get into God's Word. Ask Him. He wants to be known. He wants to be a part of your life. Listen, call our toll-free number if you need prayer today. It's 1-800-700-7000. We're happy to pray with you and for you. Gordon?
We leave you this word from Hebrews. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. May you do that today. Go boldly to that throne of grace. God bless you. We'll see you again.